And that's fine. Because I'm going to read a little bit to you from old Charlie Farquharson's Testament. Now, some of what I had up there, because I wanted you to understand the languaging of old Charlie Farquharson. So some of the names of the books of the Bible are Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, the book of Ruth, the first book of Samuel, Samuel 2, Kings 1, 2 Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, and he says that is a rehash of everything that's gone before. Daniel, Sam's Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon. And then some of the names of the people are Abraham, Sarai, Isaac, Rebekah, the Philistines, Jacob, Egyptians, Pharaoh, Israel, and Moses. So he does this from a very southern perspective, and he does things of just he's interpreting the Bible according to Charlie Farquharson. So I'm going to start with Genesis 2 and 3. Man didn't seem too happy, so God thought he should have a helpmate. Meantime, man was getting friendly with all the other beings, counting them up and giving them pet names. He even gave himself a pet name, Adam. So God thought it was time to add to Adam. First he put him to sleep, and while he was out and under, God yanked out one of his ribs. And when God had it all done up nice, he brung her to Adam. Adam took one look and said, "Oh, good God, let's call her Woman." On account of the ribbing, man and woman was one flesh. Without any parents or in-laws, it should have been an ideal arrangement. By the by, they was both bare as birds, didn't bother the neither of them one little bit. Now this is as God is letting Abraham know that he's going to have a child. Chapter 17. God appeared before Abraham again when he was 99. Still talking about multiplying and being fruitful, God was. Abraham fell on his face. God said, "Just keep up our agreement and you'll be head of a multitude of nations. Here's the rules. First thing everybody's got to do when they're 8 days old is get circumcised. This is done through the 4 skins. In your case, it'll be retroactive. Anybody won't do it, get it cut off, that's all." Abraham said, "Well, what about Sarai? Big plan, she'll be a king's mother." Abraham fell down on his face and laughed. "Dear God, Sarai's 90 and I'm pert near 100. What do you expect? Besides, what's wrong with Ishmael?" "Ishmael was all right for a start," said God, "but Sarai's going to have her own boy. Call him Isaac. Ishmael's going to multiply and come forth with 12 princes, but Isaac's the one I'm counting on, and he's coming this time next year." But Abraham was too busy supervising the circumcising to prepare for little Isaac. Every member of his tribe was sore afraid, but not so much. But not so much then as maybe afterwards. Oh, I love this. I love this book. I've just been reading it. Okay, so today we are talking about the power of joy and laughter as it relates to healing. And as I was looking through the daily word to come up with the daily word for today, joy is, there's a day for joy every single month. If you go back and you look through the daily word, there's joy every single month. And joy, it's just such an important part of our journey in general. And it's not always going to be the over-the-top, excited, happy laughter joy. But that's what we're going to talk about today, is we're going to talk about more of the demonstrative joy through the power of laughter. Deuteronomy 28:47 and 48 says, "Because thou servest not Jehovah thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, by reason of the abundance of all things, therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies in hunger and in thirst, in nakedness and in want of all things." And so I'm gonna kind of interpret that, but this is the power of living in a state of joy. Because we are not truly celebrating our life, because we're not, in the present moment, and we're not enjoying, even the snow these last couple days, because we're not in this present moment and really celebrating our life with joy, with of heart, because we are immersed in the allness of God. We have all these blessings that are in us and around us. Because we don't get that and serve in joy, what it's saying is we shall serve then our enemies. And so what do some of our enemies look like? They look like, an enemy is one that opposes, so one that opposes joy. Things like anger and fear, lack, sadness, regret, depression, illness, quick-temperedness, worry, guilt, judgment, excessive anything, and ill health, or just a negative attitude. Again, I'm going to go back to these last few days of the snow, because, mostly I saw people kind of being in the joy, but I saw a lot of people just being really negative about it, and I'm thinking, how fun is this? This is, such a different thing for us at this time of year. The Taoists believe that negative emotions block a person's life force or their chi, and I am right in alignment with what they believe, causing illness. These negative emotions include the things we talked about: fear, anger, worry, those kinds of things. But according to Chinese Tao masters, a sincere smile, which is an inner smile, is the best and quickest thing you can do to boost healing energy. A true smile produces positive energy that is sent to the internal organs and other parts of the body. And it's interesting because I remember one of the first times that I was told to smile during a meditation. I just never done that. Meditation, I just always get in this place. And then I remember one time saying, "And smile." And I smiled, and I could feel it totally changed my energy just to smile. But doesn't it take effort to stay smiling in meditation? I was really glad that you mentioned a few times "and smile," because I realized, oh, there it went. We need to be consciously aware of smiling. And think about that when we are serving our quote-unquote enemies, that which opposes joy, when we're in those places of sadness and anger and fear and worry and angst and, all those kinds of things, literally our bodies reflect that. I mean, our bodies literally, we walk slower. Our face muscles are generally down. We sometimes just kind of slump, because we feel like we're carrying like a load, like it really is heavy on us. So recognize that when we're in those places and we stay there, it's that we get there, yes, we get there, it's okay, we get there. It's when we stay there, when we live there, that literally we have to understand that is an actual energy that our body is taking in. If we're feeling that load and that heaviness and that constrictedness in our physical outward expression, and certainly we're going to be feeling that, it's going to have an effect in our inward expression. So some of the scriptures that I want to share with you are from Proverbs 15:13. "A joyful heart makes a cheerful face, but when the heart is sad, the spirit is broken." And 17:22, "A joyful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bones." That to me, that's pretty strong right there. Another way to state that is a cheerful heart does good like medicine, but a broken spirit makes one sick. When we stay, again, it's when we stay in that place, when we stay in whatever those things are that opposes our joy, literally it has an effect on our physical bodies. I want to share with you how the power of laughter and humor has been shared, really, I'm sure for much longer back than I could even find. But 14th century French surgeon Henri de Mondeville used humor therapy to aid recovery from surgery. He wrote, and I lost what it wrote. Well, okay. 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries, laughter was used to restore people from melancholy and depression, to release tension, to restore equilibrium, and again, to heal the sick. 20th century modern humor therapy dates to the 1930s, and imagine this, Susan, when clowns were brought into the U.S. hospitals to cheer up children hospitalized with polio. And my immediate thought, of course, went to the Gigglebox Project, and I had pictures on there of the Giggle Bus and everybody that was all dressed up, and that's exactly what her project does. It's taking humor, it's taking things that will lighten kids up. Because again, we know the power of humor and laughter and joy on our physical body. And of course, in 1972, the Gesundheit Institute was founded by U.S. Dr. Hunter Patch Adams. And this is a home-based free hospital and continues to be that, to bring fun, friendship, and the joy of service back into healthcare. And how many of you actually watched the movie Patch Adams? Yeah, wasn't that great? And didn't you just love, that the idea behind that was that he really, oh, yay! Thank you. That he was I'll pop on through there. Well, you can see how he spelled some of these, just so you can see what I was doing there. Oh, there's the Gesundheit Institute, and that's actually Patch Adams. Again, the power, and he stayed true to that, and has stayed true to that, to this present day. And one of the things that he said is joy is more important than any other drug. Isn't that interesting? And then we've got Norman Cousins, and he's the most recent one. He brought this into public awareness when he had, and I cannot name the name of the illness that he had, but it was a crippling, extremely painful form of arthritis, and his doctors literally just didn't offer him really any hope of a full recovery. But he had been reading Hans Selye's 1956 book called The Stress of Life, which talked about the power of negative emotions and how they induce illness. So he got to thinking, well, if negative emotions induce illness, then maybe positive emotions could help bring healing about. So he set out to he just dove into it, and he would watch funny shows, and he did everything he could to bring as much humor into his experience as he possibly could. And he found that when he watched funny movies for 30 minutes in his hospital, that it would allow him 2 hours of restful, pain-free sleep. Isn't that something? Now, he was literally documenting this, and he did this every day as often as possible, and within 6 months, he fully recovered from this, something that the doctors thought that he would never, ever recover from. And again, we go to the Giggle Bus Project, and I love, because we've got these people, and many of these people are in our congregation that go out and they dress up, and they are willing to bring humor and fun and laughter, not just to kids, but to all of us. So I'm going to talk for a minute, we're going to go back to that, about the benefits of laughter. They've done a lot of studies over the years, and some of the benefits is that, Norman Cousins, he said it's like inner jogging, and it literally massages your internal organs. And in yoga itself, they do, and not even the laughter yoga, but things to massage your internal organs, because that helps with your digestive system. It is said that laughter can clear mucus from your lungs and lower your blood pressure overall. It's an overall body tonic. Some research indicates that laughter can build your immune system, your T cells, making you more immune to colds and to the flu. Laughter also, as we know, triggers the release of endorphins, the body's natural painkiller. And this reduces not only pain, but it reduces stress as well. And again, it builds up our serotonin level, which is why it helps with depression, with melancholy and things like that. And they've also found that laughter is good for your heart, that it increases circulation, it improves the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to the tissues throughout your body. I mean, laughter is just good for us. Laughter is out and out just good for us. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity and Jesus Christ Heals, says that there is an intimate relation between happiness and health goes without question. If the bloodstream were never congested and all the nerves and pores were open and free and were swiftly carrying forward their appointed work, there would never be an abnormal or false growth in the body. It follows logically that we should cultivate those mind activities which stimulate naturally the currents of life in the body. One of these, and a very important one, is joy. And again, today we're talking about joy through laughter. And have you ever had those times? Well, first of all, have you ever had those times when you could not stop laughing and it was in a really inappropriate place? How many of us have done it? Oh, yeah. And isn't it funny? Because the more that you know you shouldn't laugh, the more you laugh until and you're trying to be quiet and tears are coming down, and it's just funny. And how many times have you been in a situation where you have just laughed so hard that you've cried? And almost like you say, my face is hurting. But after you have a good belly laugh, what do you usually say? Oh my God, I really needed that. That felt good. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? I think about how every single time I'm like, I needed that. It felt so good. So we know that there is a definite mind-body connection with the idea of laughing out loud and in our health. I read that a child laughs 400 times a day on average, while an adult laughs only 15 times a day on average. Isn't that something? But the great news is that we're allowed to laugh more than 15 times a day. and we can start increasing that. So how? What are some of the ways that we can start bringing laughter into our experience? Well, and you may have some of your own, but I know for me, watching funny movies, I love watching the old TV shows, watching Lucy. I have so many of these at home, and watching I Love Lucy, watching Gilligan's Island. What other ones do you guys like to watch from way back? Carol Burnett. Don't act like you're too young. I love to watch Funniest Home Videos. Do you ever watch that? If you haven't, I crack up every time I watch that. And for me, one of the things that it will get me to tears, and I will just be laughing so hard, is I love to read the texts that have been auto-corrected. And they're nothing I could have brought here because they're really end up being quite awful, but they're absolutely hilarious. And I can't tell you how many times I'll be because I'll take my iPad into bed and all of a sudden Sean will be like, "What are you laughing at?" And I'm crying laughing because I think how embarrassing. And one of them that I read was a mom that was sending out a text, and she sent it. This came to her son, and she said, "Your aunt just passed away, LOL." And so the son puts back, "Okay, Mom, do you know what LOL means?" And she put back, "Lots of love." And he said, "No, Mom, it means laugh out loud." And she put, "I've texted everybody with that." Your aunt just passed away. That's just one of them. I love them. Another thing, like I talked about, is the laughter yoga. This is literally a real thing. And I got online and I was looking at YouTube, and you just can't help but laugh when you're even watching these things because they're purposely laughing. And again, the idea is that it's so good for your physical body. There's laughter workshops, and on Wednesday night, Susan's going to come and do a 10-minute laughter thing with us to get us into that place of really opening ourselves up and laughing. And speaking about the snow, I just couldn't help but bring this because this is my youngest grandson, and this is when the snow was just pouring down, and then I caught this picture of the two of them. And isn't it great? And this is always our opportunity. I loved in your meditation that you said there's a choice point. And when we're in a state where we've had a huge loss, we're not always going to be able to find our way to this, and that's okay. But most of the time, it's not that. Most of the time, it's just life gets us, or we're just, we're not consciously present and aware. But we do have a choice as to what we're going to focus on, and how we can just be more present to life and bring more of that joy into our life. Another thing is sing out loud. How many of us sing in the shower? Or in the car by ourselves? But don't you feel good when you sing? You sing, and it's kind of the same thing because you're getting it out there, and you can even laugh at yourself if you want to. In fact, laughing at ourselves is really one of the best things that we can possibly do. A couple of quotes. Mary Pettibone Poole says, "He who laughs, lasts." Do not take life too seriously. You'll never get out of it alive. If taking vitamins doesn't help keep you healthy enough, try more laughter. The most wasted of all days is that on which one has not laughed. So, my friends, really, your homework assignment this week is to go have fun. Lighten up. Go have fun. Find things that make you laugh, and purposely put yourself in situations where you laugh. And get online and look up some of the YouTube things. Some of them on there too were instances where people were in that inappropriate time to laugh, but they couldn't help themselves, and you just can't help but find yourself cracking up with them. But the whole idea here is that laughter is what is going to bring that greater sense of healing about in our body.